his mask off. I don't know about anybody else. It's about 10 degrees warmer in there. Anyway, now we need hand sanitizer.
Again.
Let's not put it there, otherwise we might drink it. That's not a good plan.
Goes well with tonic.
How are we all? It smells a bit like tonic this one, don't you think? How are we all? How are we, Rachel, in the production booth?
I'm excellent.
Rachel
Very,
is
very
excellent.
good.
How are you, Ross?
I'm good, thank you.
No, you are.
Sensational.
Thank you very much. That's
Good.
on brand. Awesome.
Better.
So tonight we are doing Tasmanian Pinot Noirs.
Yes,
Why?
because we can.
Wrong answer.
I didn't know this was a quiz show. I thought it was a tasting.
Last time I checked, we could be tasting any number of thousands of things. Why are we tasting Tasmanian Pinot Noir? Apart from the fact that Eva, who has...
Because I'm Tasmanian.
Yes, apart from that she's Tasmanian. Why are we doing Tasmanian Pinot Noir?
Because it's yum.
Because we like it.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I give up. All right, which one are we going to try first?
Well, we're going to start with the Ninth Island.
Awesome.
Now, interesting about Tasmanian Pinot Noir. It is the big thing, and it's a cooler climate than Victoria on the South Island.
Yep.
And ideally suited to Pinot Noir. And as all the big producers and all the smart money, etc., now looking to Tasmania for cool climate wines like Pinot Noir and stuff like that.
Yep.
So there's a lot of interest, and there's some very good wines coming out of there.
Great.
For me.
Now,
They always get listed just as Tasmania, and if you've ever driven around Tasmania, there's more to Tasmania than just Tasmania.
What do you mean? It's
Well-
just
Eva.
It's just me.
No, there's basically 3 different wine growing regions in Tasmania. There's the northern part, which is sort of around the Tamar Valley.
up
Which
near
is-
Launceston.
Yeah,
Which is Ninth Island.
that's where we're starting.
Yep.
And then there's the south part, which is around Hobart, which is around the Derwent River and the other things. They often call it the Coal River Valley. I don't know why, because it's about 3 different rivers. Weird.
Yes.
And then you've got the east coast, which is around the Freycinet Peninsula, which is where this one comes from. There's nothing on the west coast because it's all
it's
forest
all,
and wilderness stuff.
Indeed.
So, but they have, having been there a number of times, they're all slightly different climates, so they're slightly different effects on the wine.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is why we said that they were all different regions, but not really regions.
Yes. But Pinot likes it cool, doesn't it? That's
Yeah.
the whole idea.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. Awesome. So we're starting, I know, because everybody asks, when I'm normally sitting in the production booth, everybody always asks, what are we starting with? So we're starting with the Ninth Island Pinot Noir.
Maybe we should wait to give people more time to get here, in case they're not.
Yes.
Oh, quick, get your glasses. Put something in them.
We've got Liz.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello, Liz.
Ian Perry from South Australia. Hello, hello. And
Hello.
we've got Justine. Hello. Everyone is saying hello today.
Cool. That's good. Hello,
Good,
everybody.
good, good. How's our sound? We've changed our setup again today, trying to get
Yeah, a
a
little
change in
different.
sound.
So hopefully it's better sound. And Ross is yelling, as usual.
Oh, because I'm excited.
Excited.
It's exciting. 'cause
Excited.
it's
It's
Tasmania.
exciting. Oh,
And
Excitable.
Luke's in the peanut gallery today
Yes.
for the
Peanut
first
gallery.
time.
Luke is in the... Yes, that's right. Actually, Luke has... We've had
Luke
times...
is walking back and forth. He's going, I feel weird standing up. I'm not
In previous tastings, I usually sit on a stool in camera so that I stop myself from pacing around the room.
So he's now pacing up the back
Yeah.
because he and Eva have just done a cocktail tasting.
Yes.
So we are nothing if not flexible. All right, so here we go with...
We've got Diane as well, and Heather said hello from the Mornington Peninsula, and Jared says hello everyone.
hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We've got Paula Carmen here as well. Oh, and Lisa said lots of sound.
Lots of sound.
Lots of
Good.
sound,
Lots of
good.
sound. That's good. Okay, including the motorbike. Just out there. Lovely. All right, so what are we getting?
Hey, I'm going to look at the colour.
Oh, sorry.
So this one is from up north, I believe. Yes.
Yes. So this is
Near
the
the
Tamar region.
Valley.
Piper's Brook, which goes into the Tamar River.
Yeah. We were actually doing some research as well. We were getting very confused because Ninth Island, there is actually an island called Ninth Island, which is up the north coast of Tassie, but this wine is not grown there at all.
So
No.
why is it called Ninth Island?
We couldn't figure that out.
Well, we think it was a marketing
Oh.
ploy.
Yeah, there was a bit of conversation about why they called it Ninth Island. And people were saying, you know, what do you want from Tasmania and what does that do for Pinot? And it was about, we want nice, cool climate, lots of fresh wind. And they call it Ninth Island because the Ninth Island is a very north island of Tasmania and it's cold and windy.
In the Bass
Okay.
Strait. Yeah.
So it's
Right.
like we wanted
Okay.
to capture that flavour and that.
Okay. So this is the flavour of Ninth Island rather than from Ninth
Yeah.
Island.
There you go.
Okay.
Janine says Taswegian. Yes, that is what I am.
Yeah, a Taswoogle.
Well, the first thing is it's quite light in colour.
Yep,
It's not very
pretty,
dark.
It's sort of a ruby red colour.
Yeah, it's a nice ruby red colour and nice bit of viscosity.
It's got a very interesting nose to it.
What's
Very
interesting
complicated.
about it?
It's got a sour berry sort of smell, like a mulberry.
Yeah.
A little bit of cherry.
I've got a bit of cherry. I was just about to say
Cherry.
the same thing. Bit of cherry.
It is
The
quite.
one thing you'll find with Pinot Noir in general, but particularly Cool Climate stuff, is it brings out the cherry notes in the Pinot Noir.
Yeah, okay.
And you have all sorts of cherries. You have red cherries and you have black cherries and you have sour cherries. And
Morello cherries.
All of the cherries.
cherry ripe style cherries.
This smells like dark cherry to me.
Yeah.
Not so much. Maybe a bit sour, but not so much.
Dark sour cherries.
You think?
Jared has said Flinders Island. It's to the west of Flinders Island, so it's up north, but not quite there.
Okay. Cool.
There you go.
It's very handy to have an expert in Tasmanian geography when you were doing this.
This is quite sour, actually.
Yeah.
Smells quite sour.
There's a bit of that petrichor smell, like that wet soily sort of smell. But it's subtle.
And there's something else on the a herby finish.
Yeah, Joseph said pipe tobacco.
Yeah. okay.
Tobacco, do you think?
Yeah.
A bit, maybe.
That's
That sort of. I had a brown wood smell that I was trying to identify. Maybe that's
royal
okay.
blue.
I'm also getting a slight herbaceous sauce on the finish, kind of.
Is it nearly time or?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's verging on minty.
I was about to say mint. I thought that sounded silly, but it,
I think the brightness of mint is playing into the sour cherry flavour.
I think it
like
tastes.
those
I think
two
it smells like we
flavours.
need to taste it. That's
Okay.
what I think.
Oh, cheers then. We're going to taste it. Woohoo! Let's do
Here we
that.
go. Here's to Thursdays.
Ooh, yeah, Ian is definitely getting sour cherries.
I don't think it tastes like sour cherries though.
I get a bit of sour.
It starts raspberry and then you get the sort of unripe strawberry on the middle palate.
Tastes better than unripe strawberry though. It's one of the great curses of
And then,
September and
but it
October,
does finish on some cherry.
Yeah, it comes back to that black cherry.
and I'm still not getting that real sourness, that real sour cherry I don't particularly like, and this is okay.
Oh, okay. Andrew, we are starting with the Ninth Island, and Luke is indeed behind the camera today.
I am here. Don't you worry.
We'll get him on camera soon enough because
I mean, he can stay there.
no, there's
Vivian's like, it's my moment to shine.
I don't know.
well, he can have my spot. No, there's various people that got side bets on what colour he's dyed his hair today.
Oh, we can just show that. We can just stick his head in.
I will say, if I do come on camera, I have had to take my shoes off because
He's too
our
tall.
new setup means that I'm too tall for camera.
Indeed.
Yeah, righto. It's called wearing
Now, where do
unsafe shoes.
where do we want to be drinking this one? In Tassie. Oh, that'd be nice.
In Tassie in your 14-day quarantine.
Oh, yeah. That costs almost $3,000. Ah,
It's
So-
kind of
Some people have gone to the Northern Territory to spend $1,200 on quarantine
$1,200.
so that they can then go to the grand final in Queensland.
The Northern Territory government is subsidised so that you spend money in Darwin.
Right, interesting.
where do we want to be drinking this? That's the real question.
Anywhere, I'd happily drink this outside with
I think this
up
is
to
a-
5 people from 2
I think-
households.
I think this is an after picnic Pinot.
Picnic Pinot with 5. Oh,
Yeah,
Picnic Pinot.
Up to 5,
Three other people.
Up to 5 people from 2 households.
yes, that
Do
is
you know
true.
what I think? The juiciness of this makes me think, you know, when you've got those like sunny but cold days in sort of like,
Cool.
you know, like you're warm
Yeah.
in
It's
the sun,
13
but
degrees, but
but
in the
there's a
sun
cool
it's warm.
wind.
Yeah.
it's that
Oh,
kind of,
oh no! Picnic smoked salmon blinis. I'm on it. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think smoked salmon blinis. I'm a sparkling with smoked salmon
I
blinis
don't-
girl. I'm sorry.
The mood of a smoked salmon blini. I don't think.
Doesn't mean
wine-
you actually
Now
have
we're
it
getting
yet.
preposterous. The mood
Yeah,
of
a
smoke.
mood.
The
Oh.
mood of smoked salmon building. Really.
Yeah, Lisa has said springtime. It's
Yeah.
perfect timing.
It is, absolutely.
It's a
That's
good-
one of the reasons
it's
we're
a
doing
good
Pinot
spring
now.
Pinot.
Yeah, it
Spring
is good.
Pinot,
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
and light, fruity.
Doesn't have any of that deep mushroomy
No.
stuff going on.
All
Alright.
right. For a picnic.
That's good. Will we move on to the next one?
Oh.
No, hang on. Are we finished?
Before we move on,
Yeah.
has anyone got? Speaking of smoked salmon bellinis, has anyone got any foods you'd like to be drinking with this? And extra points if you say something that isn't duck.
Pate.
Pate?
I'd even go
Something
with like a
with
nice cheese board.
Or something with mushrooms in it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why would you
Mushroom
say that?
risotto, maybe?
Mushroom risotto? Yes,
Yeah.
mushroom risotto.
It would be good with mushrooms though.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, Justine has said terrine, and Lisa said yes, smoked salmon bellini at my house.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
To be extreme, on the cheese board spectrum, I'd go for something nice, waxy. So,
Nice and waxy.
yeah, your Mazdam, even you could go as far as your Iberico cheeses.
Yeah,
and if you want,
Actually, while we're talking Iberico, it would be nice with hamon and that sort of stuff. And we
Yeah.
cut through some of that sort of fat.
With the
It's
saltiness.
got a bit of acidity to it.
That's what I thought smoked salmon.
I think the juiciness
Yeah.
goes really
Yeah,
well.
smoked salmon would be good.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm in hamon and prosciutto myself. Hamon.
No, I'll go. I think I'll go back to the mushroom risotto. That'd be nice.
Lisa said an interesting one: teriyaki chicken.
Oh, could be. Yeah.
She's, not,
Yeah.
she's very rarely wrong on the food process.
I understand that. I'd go with that.
Yeah, interesting. Well, do we have any last comments on the Ninth Island?
I like it. I think it's a good workman-like.
It's a
It
good
is.
classic light Pinot.
You're yawning.
Oh,
in front
sorry.
of everybody.
In front of the whole world. Ah! Sorry, look at Luke. Look at Luke. Look at Luke.
Yeah, we do have a situation in which we've got to make sure that part of the job of the person behind the camera is keep Ross staring at the camera. So yeah.
No, I like that. It's
Well, where did Rachel go?
Beautiful. Well, let's move on to
don't
the
break
Devil's
the
Corner.
fourth wall. Right. Okay. Let's move on to the Devil's Corner. Now, Devil's Corner is one of my favourites.
Up the East Coast.
Yes,
Freycinet Peninsula.
Yes.
For those of you who know Devil's Corner, the old label used to have this absolutely glorious painting of
Devil's Corner.
Devil's Corner. And when you go there, we parked at the car park and we walked around the corner to where the tasting room is, and you go, oh my God, it's exactly the same as the painting. It is absolutely one of those stunning views. It goes down the hill. You can see all of the grapevines rolling down the hill, down to the bay with Oyster Farm at the bottom. Seriously, what could be better? Absolutely.
And this huge peninsula and ocean in the background.
Yeah.
Backdrop.
I
gorgeous.
feel like the last time I went there, I went in very Tasmanian fashion. We'd just been to the beach. I was in track pants and bare feet. We went and cracked open a bottle
Well, the
of
last time
Pinot.
when we were there, they had only just put in a new. They're building a new tasting area, so everything was actually in
okay.
Contained.
It was like a container park
Yeah, okay.
essentially. So there were all these containers with windows cut in the sides. So it was
I
very
have a
cool.
feeling they're still kind of a little bit like
It was
that.
very
from
cool.
memory, yeah.
And also, I mean, I think the weather could be quite vicious there. I suspect.
Oh yes, that's
So,
what I think. That's
I
why
think
they're
actually,
called Devil's
Devil's Corner, yeah.
because it is.
Yeah.
Devil's
so
Corner.
actually, I thought
I heard a little rumor that the idea was that as you were going down the road towards the vineyard, you turned the corner right on the beach, and that people were scared that in a heavy gust of wind they'd be blown off the road.
No.
no,
No?
it doesn't actually.
It
do
is a
that.
very windy road, yes,
Yeah,
but you
but-
are kind of further away
Oh,
from the
okay.
water.
If you,
You-
you'd have to be blown a long, long way.
a couple
yeah.
of
Or
k's.
heavy
Two or
storm.
three
You
k's.
couple
sit
of
at
Ks.
the winery and look down, and then you can see sort of the
Yeah.
hills and the water.
But it is
yeah.
absolutely one of the best views of a vineyard in the country. I
Yeah.
reckon it's absolutely gorgeous.
No, it's
I would
fantastic.
hazard guess it's not one of the best views in the country from a vineyard. I think it's the best vineyard view,
That's what I
one of
said.
the best in the world, in fact.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
It's pretty
There we
stunning.
go. All right. So
Big call, but I'll
Josh?
put in the top five.
this is a bit darker in colour.
Well, Josh at home has got cheddar, truffle machego, and smoked camembert. Goes well with
Oh.
us so far.
Oh, I
Truffle
think he's on it.
manchego.
I think you're on it there, Josh. That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Now, what I noticed about bottling this one is it is a very light wine. Not just a light Pinot, but I think it's in colour it is quite translucent.
Yeah,
I think it's a bit, but it's a bit deeper than the
it's
Ninth
darker than the
Island.
Ninth Island,
Really?
though.
See, I thought it was the opposite.
It's got more pink tones to it.
Possibly, yeah.
It's got more of a pinky red.
Now,
What-
okay,
I'd call that scarlet red.
nose. What kind of aromas are we getting?
I'm getting
Cherries, raspberries.
I'm getting a bit of then we're getting roses in there.
Yeah,
See,
raspberry.
what I was going to say is a very Christine Falcone comment is getting mustics.
Oh,
I don't know. We've
I-
never really recovered from the 20-cent bag of lollies
Um,
in our palace.
this is a joke that we do keep saying, and I hate to make Christine any kind of spectacle, but there are some wines that do bring out mustics, and this is.
That is
I
will
think it
concede,
is.
I will concede that.
Oh no, it's the little raspberry gummy
Yeah,
lollies.
red tubes. Obviously, red
Red
gummy.
tubes or
okay.
those little raspberry lollies.
Oh, the ones with the sugar on the outside. Yeah, got it now.
Little raspberry light.
But I'm
Yeah.
getting rose.
Yeah, I got rose.
Rose, there's roses there for sure.
Liz is saying this one is very pretty.
This
I
way.
agree.
Very pretty.
This smells a bit less complex.
Now,
Actually,
the interesting thing,
Violet.
the fun thing about this wine is it's about $20, and it's got a big brother that's about $30-something, and the last 2 or 3 times I've entered them in wine shows,
This one wins.
this one wins, and the more expensive one comes third.
Oh, do they? But they do
Don't
judge
tell
it
me
on the price bracket, don't they?
No, no,
or
no,
they,
no,
or
no.
they take cost
It's
into account.
no, it's blind.
Really?
It's blind.
It's blind.
Like
Yeah.
in the Hobart time, the first one I went in was the Hobart wine show. It was blind, so they just like,
Interesting.
and it,
By blind, we mean that you can't tell which wine is.
Not
which.
strong.
Not that you've drunk so
I've-
much. You
I've
can't tell.
heard-
close your eyes, dear.
some people say that their more expensive Pinot Noir is a very specific type. And
Yeah,
this
it is.
more of a general drinking wine.
It is.
So it
The-
kind of
yeah.
wins
Yeah,
out.
you're right. The more expensive one is a bit more of a character-driven wine, which is French.
Geranium.
which is French for saying only some people like it.
No, well, it's code for
Geranium?
the winemaker loves it, and the rest of us get stuffed.
I like
we,
those.
we've attended some tastings recently where we think maybe there's been a bit much of the winemaker drank a bit much of the product.
And they go, yes, this will be mine.
Yeah.
Preaching to the choir sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
See, Andrew has said, I agree with the mustics and jubes. And Liz says, undertone of leather. And Diana has said, yes, definitely jubes.
but
Very good
it's
point
just it's a bit less complex. The other one was a bit harder to get my head around. This one was a bit sort of more accessible. Is that what
Yeah,
you mean?
accessible is a good word for it.
There's almost a light woodiness that I associate with pine or paperback books. Very specific, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
like old books.
Is it now time to taste this?
Like a little bit dusty, but not dusty.
It's old. It's that old. Yeah. It's my grey and green collection.
Like musty, but not musk-y.
Musty.
There's a bit of violet that comes through on the palate, which is really nice.
I really
Right.
like that. That is really nice. That doesn't have that sort of slightly sour cherry that makes me feel it's a bit underdone. It's really round. I like that.
Well,
It's got a fair bit of acid hiding underneath too, by the way.
While we've said
Nice.
that this is a simpler wine in terms of the smells,
Mm.
do you think there's something to be said for the texture of this wine? The
Yeah.
mouthfeel of the wine?
It's got definitely
It's
more
round.
tannins in the
That's
mouth.
what I'm saying. It's rounder. It's got a bit more. Maybe that's that leather that Liz was talking about. That's where that from the tannins maybe.
It's
Maybe
almost
that's what it
an
is.
earthy acidity.
Nice.
Yeah,
though.
I was thinking more of the acidity, not quite the mouthfeel, I think.
Anyway, all I know is I really like it.
Andrew said light woodiness, yes. Pine, not so much. Luke has just gone,
Pine mushrooms.
I just rolled my eyes then. Quite right.
I'm still
On the
getting,
palate,
Pine-
not on the nose.
pine mushrooms.
I'm still getting a bit of raspberries and a bit of cherries.
Yeah, definitely.
See, I
And
feel like I'm
violet.
getting more jube, on the palate with this one.
Oh really? Okay.
I think so.
Cool.
No, I don't get the tube on the palate.
Rachel's got a laugh. What's going on there, Rach?
Funny. How many times I can say Jew?
Is
Is
that
that
a
a technical term?
Jubes? Yes. Ian has said smooth tannins, still a bit of sharpness, red berries, and a hint of mushroom. That's indeed.
Yep, I think we're all on that.
We're on with Ian.
Paula says it has a dry finish, and Christy has asked, what are the tips for best describing identifying acid?
Ooh.
Ross has put his wine glass down and thinking.
You
Just
kind of
place
feel it
in-
on your tongue, or sort of. What do you think, Luke? How do you identify acid?
Acid, particularly, we talk about back palate a lot with acid. And when we normally in wine, what we mean is the last flavour you have left in your mouth,
Almost like an aftertaste.
aftertaste. But acid itself, you taste on the part of your tongue that's in your throat. So as most people know, the tongue goes down the throat. That's where you taste acid. That's the bit it burns when you have a bit too much balsamic. And
Okay.
if you feel soft in the back of your throat, it's not acidic. If it feels thin or sharp, then it's a bit acidic.
And you
But
can
I
also feel a bit powdery too, I feel.
Almost like chalky.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's really acidic, it will dry your tongue out as well.
And then it goes past being chalky.
Which means that then it's a bit different to tell the difference between acid and tannins, then, isn't it? Because tannins do the same. But for me,
Tannins come back out.
tannins make
Will
you
fill
feel
your
like
mouth.
you have to sort of peel your tongue off the roof of your mouth. You know, gives you that-
Yeah.
Tannins come off the back of the tongue and fill your whole mouth. Acidity will stick to where it is.
Yeah.
So if it's really dry, you get the chalkiness on your back of your tongue. You cannot, like, sort
But
of
this
place
doesn't have chalkiness.
Is that what? Is that
It's
what
got
you
a
want?
bright,
from
quite a bright. This has got a quite a bright finish for me.
really bright finish.
From a Pinot, would you prefer it to be slightly chalkier and more acidic, or is that like the more traditional way to have a Pinot? Or is it really just personal preference?
There are a few different types of Pinot in that regard.
Yeah.
There's your light acidic Pinots, and then there's your juicy Pinots, and then there's your earthy Pinots.
Yeah.
Normally,
I think it's
And any
personal
of those can be
preference.
chalky.
I think it's,
Yeah,
I think it's personal preference really, and then often what the winemakers are trying to
But that's what I was saying. I think this one's
get out of
really
the wine.
this one's really accessible in that it's really sort of it's middle of the road. It's not. It hasn't got too much of the farmyard mushroom thing going on.
Is
Um,
this not an
and-
NV6, Luke?
that's a really interesting thing that I did a bit of research.
By the way, the MV6 is a clone
As a-
of Pinot for everyone at home.
Yeah.
That we've been debating now for
quite-
about 6 weeks. But
Quite technical. It's not just a Pinot grape. It's well,
It's
Pinot
a,
Noir
it's
grape.
a
It is
clone of the grape. It's the type of the
particular
grape.
Um,
Luke's going to come and explain, and you get to see the colour of his hair.
okay, off you go.
so MV6 is a very particular
Sit
strain.
down.
I have to sit down because otherwise I move around too much. MV6 is a really particular strain of Pinot. It's really resilient to mildew and sunburn and soil changes.
So there's quite a lot of it in the Yarra Valley, where
So-
it used to be really boggy.
It used to be boggy, and then it used to also get a lot of sun.
Yeah.
And Pinot is a really cool climate wine, which is why it does so well in Tasmania. Part of the reason that I pushed when we're talking about doing a Pinot tasting about
Yeah.
doing Tasmanian Pinot is it has less MV6. MV6 is very resilient, but it can be quite
Muscular.
muscular, leathery, and simple.
How
It
do you
has-
mean muscular? As in, like it's just really hardy?
It's a really gutsy wine.
Okay,
It can
yeah.
burn your palate out if you have too much of it. You
It-
taste
It doesn't feel like
build up.
it doesn't like taste like
It
a
doesn't have the
Pinot.
juiciness.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
no, it doesn't.
so
taste like Pinot.
That's
Yeah.
what's really interesting. A lot of people, particularly winemakers and vineyards and wineries and stuff, very rarely will talk about what clones of wine they use, and they will talk about the kind of wine they're trying to make. A lot of the time, if you actually manage to probe a winemaker, it's just about the grape they're using.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why Tasmania is so great. They don't have as much MV6. They use a larger diversity of grape clones.
Okay.
You get a lot more juiciness. You get a lot more complexity. I know for a fact that Ninth Island, which is made from Piper's Brook, they use up to 20 different clones of grape.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, about 60% of Yarra Valley is MV6 only. So I can't say I know entirely about Devil's Corner and Derwent in that, but there's a lot of different
Yeah,
clones of
it's quite
Pinot
hard
that
to
go
tell.
into some of these wines.
But it's really just and that all sounds very technical, and you don't need to go to that level. It's really about finding the kind of, I think we've discussed this before with Pinot, it's about finding the kind of Pinot you like.
Yeah,
and
there's certainly not just one type of Pinot.
no, it's not like Shiraz where there's sort of basically a couple of different types and you're away.
Yeah.
There's lots and lots of different variations. So the key with Pinot is to find one you like, work out what it is that you like. If you like one from a particular region, for example, for those of you who tasted the Swan Bay from the Bellarine, for example, if you like that, then you'll like other things that come probably from the same area or have the same kind of aspect. So there's lots of sea, there's lots of fresh breeze.
That's the other thing is a lot of the grape varieties, particularly in Australia where Pinot is a very French grape. We've tried to take a French thing and make it Australian, and we can only do as good as the climate and soil we get. So Yarra Valley is the sunniest, so they get MV6. Bellarine and Mornington get a little bit more variety. Tasmania is cooler. They get to do whatever they want.
But the other thing that was interesting, we did a tasting the other day with some people from the Yarra Valley, and they were talking about the fact that they, when they first planted the Yarra Valley with Pinot, that they were really working hard to get it to look darker than a rosé because they were having a lot of trouble getting that out of it. Some of that was about the climate at the time,
But the age of the
but it was also about the age of the vines. So Pinot sort of is something that really is affected by how old the vines are and the kind of, it's very, like you were talking about Riesling being very reflective of the soil and the climate.
What we call terroir.
Pinot's the same, whereas Shiraz is much less affected.
It's a lot more forgiving.
Well, it's just a brute of a thing.
It grows anywhere.
Only grow in your garage.
Not like a weed.
Yeah,
But not quite.
well, it is when
A
you
tasty
see it.
weed.
A tasty weed. Anyway, so I just think that the key is to find the kind that you like, because none of these are farmyardy. They don't have that real funky sort of
Earthy dirt smell.
Yeah.
They're also,
but they're different.
they're
from
not
each other.
terribly what we call the sour French, which is
No.
like that really sour.
Which I think, frankly, comes because they don't get them right enough. But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of really sour cherry flavouring
No. Yeah.
Pinots. Vivian
I like
can't stand them. And what's really interesting is like there are people out there who say things like, "Oh, I'm not great with Pinot. I find sometimes I hate them." Right? And I was like that for a very long time.
You are still sometimes.
I was like that for a
Don't
very long
deny it.
time. And Vivian, I think I have the same palate as Vivian in that respect when it comes to the sour cherry.
I have my own palate.
But it means that you become,
Sharing a palate with you.
even if you're
In
picky
case
about
you don't know, Luke is the son of Vivian.
but if you might think that you don't like a type of wine that much and it's not for you,
Try it from somewhere else.
try it from somewhere else. But number
Yep.
two, you might be a really good judge of that wine, because now I've got to a point where I can taste if it's MV6, very specific.
Do not try and take us up to that level.
No,
Anyway,
but because of the fact that I'm not a
Don't
huge
like it.
Pinot person,
Yeah.
I know the Pinots that I don't like.
Yeah.
And I know what creates that flavour.
And that's really all this is about, is finding things that you like and you don't like. One of the things that has been really interesting as we've done more and more tastings, and particularly when we've done private ones as well, the number of people, and I have to say it's mostly women, who say, "Oh, I really only like Pinot, I don't like other red wine."
Yeah.
Or they're
And then-
scared of Cabernet.
And then we've shown them some Shirazes and Cabernets, and they really love them. So I think that the key is to just, we're so lucky in Australia. We've got so much wine at a reasonable price. Try something else.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should move on.
We shall.
Well, yeah, lots of people said smoother tannins and red berries, lots of fruit tannins, refreshing mouthfeel, and the mouth-wetting acid with this one. And does
That
the
brightness I was talking about. I think.
yeah. And Chrissy said, does the tannin also identify with the acidity of the wine?
No.
No.
There you go.
So tannin is usually from the skin of the grape
And the stems.
and the stems. So we were talking to some wine producers the other day, and they were kind of saying that often when you are making wine and the juice and the skin of the grape are all crushed together, there's a bit of stem involved, and how old the stem is, how dried out the stem is, gives you your woodiness.
Yeah.
If the stems are still quite green and they haven't been on the vine for that long, you get that very sticky, disgusting,
Like
Yeah.
velvety, but not
But,
velvety.
no,
gummy,
No.
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
a gummy
It
tannin.
makes you want a period. of time.
The acidity is usually from rainfall in that year, the yeast ferment from
Yeah.
sugar to alcohol can sometimes create or increase or decrease your acidity. And the other thing is a lot of wines have stabilizers in them that make them bottle safe, and that's based about increasing or decreasing
Yeah.
your acidity.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different factors that create acidity. Tannin only ever comes from the skin and the stem.
Yeah.
And
And that's
your
what,
juiciness only comes from the center of the fruit.
actually, while we're talking about that, should we talk about, because tannins are one of the things that help wine age. So now we're moving on to the Derwent.
Derwent Estate Pinot Noir.
So Derwent is,
Wait, before we do that, what sort of food goes well with the dinners? We can talk about that.
oh yes, you're right.
Company
I would go pizza.
Pizza's good bet, actually.
Something
It could
light.
take something quite light but a little bit fatty, like bready almost.
Well, maybe that's what we're talking about with pizza.
I
Yeah.
think it would be really good with like a baked brie and a bit of a torn off baguette.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Ooh.
Rachel?
Rachel, that's one for you.
That's also leaning towards the, I hate to say it, the duck.
Yeah, Ian has also said duck leg with a hint of juniper.
For the previous wine, you might have heard me say extra points for anyone who says flavour profiles that don't include duck. Every time we have a Pinot, every time I've been to a Pinot tasting, someone says duck.
Eat it with duck. Drink it with duck.
Drink it with duck. It goes
Don't
great
eat
with
it.
duck, yada, yada, yada.
Peking duck, in fact. That
The standard person eats duck once a year
Well,
or
we're not-
twice a year.
I don't think I've ever eaten duck.
It's not a good. I don't think it is a
No.
good
We
explanation
have
of a
duck every
wine.
Every week.
No,
Oh,
we can't
nearly.
mix.
I don't think it's a good explanation of a wine to
no.
compare it to something that you never eat. That is not a good
No.
understanding.
No,
of
no,
palate.
okay, but duck is short for something with strongish flavour,
Slightly gamey,
slightly
a
gamey
little bit
and
fatty.
fat.
Yeah.
So that's really what it's saying. So
but the
that's,
slightly gamey thing usually goes with the red fruit.
and that's what
Cranberry.
and that's what somebody was talking about with terrine. I think that there's something of that in there. So terrines give you that same sort of complexity, bit of fat, bit of
Fattiness.
spice,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
But
as
it
well.
also means often Pinots goes really well with pork because you get lots
Yes.
of flavour and lots of
Yeah.
fat.
I agree.
Um,
I agree. All right, so we're moving on to the
Derwent
Derwent
Estate.
Estate.
Derwent Estate.
Now these guys are up near New Norfolk, so it's about 20 to 30 minutes drive out of Hobart. There's not a whole lot of traffic out of Hobart, so it doesn't take you very long. Up near the Derwent River, you can whitewater raft up there. It's quite nice.
And
That's up near Cambridge, isn't it? Just past there.
No, Cambridge is the other direction.
other
Oh,
way.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're going
Well,
up the
well.
Derwent, so it's more like New Norfolk.
It's
Sort of.
north, southeast.
No,
No.
it's very close to Hobart.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, and my geography of particularly Tasmania is awful.
This smells
Um,
completely different.
We were talking to our supplier Kane today.
Yeah, he's saying it's family run by two families.
Two families.
Yeah, they love their wine. They don't make a whole lot of it. I think they make
5 to 6,000 cases a year, which in comparison,
to a lot of
um,
different wines.
a lot of the wines, larger wines, can do that many in a couple of months.
Mm.
And that's what they produce in a year. They're also very down to earth kind of people. They the building that they make this out of is a hay bale made
Oh,
Classic.
cottage.
Oh, okay. And then they put a
Well,
play on the outside.
It's classic Tasmanian.
It's
Really.
it's made out of hay bales and it's been
Really?
heritage listed.
Oh, cool.
They're not organic, but they're working towards. They had a conversation a couple of years ago where they said, "What's organic wine?" And there's a lot of
We've
hoo-ha
had a
and
lot of those conversations. about organic wine.
justifications, and it's obviously usually got to be qualified and checked by.
The challenge is it's very
people and-
expensive to be
very expensive.
certified
Yeah.
organic.
But what they've decided as they go along, they're going to slowly try not to make the wine organic, but do as much organically as possible.
Yeah. Which is true of almost
they've-
all Australian wines. to be
Yeah.
honest.
They're one of the only vineyards in Tasmania that's herbicide free.
Okay. That's interesting.
Really?
Yeah, because the cooler climate and the slightly wetter climate, you get lots of
Bugs.
mite bugs and mildew bugs and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
But these
I
guys
had some eucalypt
decided
on the
that-
nose to start with. I don't think it's moving.
Yeah.
What's anybody else got?
Well, Christy
Red gum.
says quite spicy. What do you think?
Red gum.
Cinnamon is
I'm going to move
prominent.
over, let Ross come in.
Or Lisa's also said a little bit of barnyard. I know that Vivian may not agree, or she's having a sniff to check. Maybe
bit of
some
vineyard.
mint.
Barnyard is
Yeah.
a couple of flavors as well. It's
Yeah.
hay, and it's also dirt. I think this is more on
Or
the
mushroom.
hay, and mushroom. This is more on the hay side. That
You don't
dry.
think he's just smelling hay because you know it's made in a hay shed?
No. I don't know what a hay shed smells like, but I do know what hay
Oh,
smells
you
like.
city boy.
Andrea said every sniff I'm getting something different from the Derwent Estate.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Really complex.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in here. I really like it.
What vintage is this? 18?
2017.
17?
17.
Interesting year for Pinot 17.
17, 19, 18. There you go. Well, and that's a good question. How long can you keep Pinot for, Mr. Smith?
It depends on the Pinot. Some, as the French will point out, will keep for a very, very long time indeed.
If you went through all of these, how would these ones age? So the Ninth Island could age.
3 to 5, maybe 6 or 7 years max.
I wouldn't go over 5 for that.
Over 5, 3 to
5
5.
more? As in, like, from where we are now? Or from...
That's 18.
5
No,
years
from there.
5 years
From
from
2018?
5 years from producing, 3 years from now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why we say 3 to 5.
What about Devils?
Bit
A
longer.
bit longer, I would have thought.
And I think that this is just the smelling. This is going to be a lot longer.
Okay.
I think the structure of the Devil's Corner will survive. I think when you get to 5 years, it won't be a tasting wine. It'll be a drinking wine. It's a slightly more simple wine. We said it had less.
I reckon this is 3 to 5, 5 to 8,
It's
Who
got
knows?
good
8
structure.
or more.
This is a completely different colour though. It's much darker.
This is.
Look at that. Look at that. That's
Garnet?
much darker.
Would we say garnet?
Yeah, maybe.
It's not quite oxblood.
Garnet's a bit like duck. It's not something everybody experiences. Garnet.
No, I like to use very specific color references.
I know you do. You should be a nail polish name expert.
Don't.
I just named them after wine.
I think I get violets from this one. But it's like,
Oh.
it's more floral than I think anything else.
I've actually got some.
Fresh violets. I
Mm.
definitely get the fresh violets.
It smells like terrine to me. I can smell.
I'm going to have a hint of coffee or chocolate or.
Oregano.
Joanne just brought up a good point. I think they have 2016.
I think our label was incorrect. It was meant to be 2017.
Was it?
Yes, everyone got the 2017.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Apologies.
Sorry. That was our mistake in bottling. But yeah, everyone's got the 2017 at home.
Yeah, so you're all tasting.
Indeed.
Unlike Malbec, you're all tasting what we have.
Stop it.
Every day's a school day. We're all learning.
Paula, our price points, we've got these ones as $19.95, $19.95, and I believe this one is $34.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The Derwent Pinot particularly has gone up slightly in price recently.
I'm going to give a bit of
But-
chocolate in there.
Mm.
Is it chocolate or coffee or something?
I'm just
Yeah,
surprised how floral
I
it
thought
is.
chocolate or coffee.
I think coffee. I think that that light fruity, almost pour over, slow batch coffee. That like
No, I don't.
Nicaraguan.
Sorry?
Definitely
Go on,
not
keep
What did you
Brazilian.
do when you were locked up with him in there? My goodness, he's gone completely OTT.
Oh, it just reminds me of a coffee I had from Nicaragua. Like, you got to draw in the
You're
sauces
saying
you
now
have.
he's over the top. Like, he's always over the top. Huh?
No, I know the difference.
All right, I'm going to taste now.
That was all very in sync.
I
That was a
know.
bit spooky.
We might make that a still later on.
We're not
Oh, I
right.
like that. I got a bit of chocolate on the palate. Has anybody else got that? That sort of it's a texture of chocolate. That sort of velvety. Yum. That's
I
got a
think-
really nice
I
mouthfeel.
think. Are you saying like a creamy chocolate, like a creaminess?
No.
or
Okay,
Dark
I'm
chocolate.
also getting dark cherry. I'm getting a bit of plums. I'm getting a bit of cardamom. So
that front palate has that petrichor, that
But again-
wet earthy.
Oh.
Again, it's
Our
got.
favourite word, petrichor.
I'm sorry about
As we move into spring, I really think we need to lose petrichor. I think there's some other stuff we should do. Anyway, I think it's got a bit like this one. It's got that brightness at the back palate. I think I'm liking this one. This is also a bit of viscosity. Check out the way it hangs in the glass.
it starts off sort of wet violets and then opens up to sort of herbaceous, bright, sort of
It certainly has more obvious tannins in this one, I feel like.
Mm.
I would personally think this isn't such a traditional Tasmanian cool climate Pinot.
No, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
No. I think this is one of those
It's not
wines
bigger wine.
where they've,
Sorry.
It's not bigger wine. It's
Oh,
meant to
certainly,
last.
yeah.
rather than trying to
It's
make
almost a Victorian tasting Pinot.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
trying to make a wine of a certain flavour with a formula. They've really, I mean, it's number one. This is the smallest of the vineyards
Mm.
and the smallest production. They're really focused on their wine, the actual grape that they use,
Certainly, yeah.
and the
Yeah.
character of that grape, and that's the kind of wine
It's
that
really
they make it
delicious.
into.
It's interesting because this is the most southern out of all of these as well.
Yeah.
And I'd say maybe not closest.
It's got
Yeah.
It'd be definitely cooler than these two vineyards.
There's-
Yeah, certainly. And I find that interesting that it's
Yeah, you
more
have a lot of-
tannins and more body.
You'd
to
be
it
having
than
a lot of
it's
frost and
Yeah.
stuff.
It
down
goes
there.
to show they make really good wine if they can make a big, gutsy Pinot
Mm.
out of
It's got
really
that-
cold climate.
It's got that juiciness still going on, hasn't it? It hasn't really sort of.
I wouldn't
No,
be
not at
surprised
all.
if it's slightly cooler climate, they've let it ripen a bit more because it's not at risk of sunburn.
Yeah, well,
and that's given a
is
bit
That's fair.
more
Yeah, yeah.
juiciness and a bit more tannin from the skin,
Mm.
a little bit more structure.
It might also depend too if it's right down near the river. Maybe it doesn't get as much frost. Maybe it's
Oh, yeah.
it's in a pocket.
New Norfolk still gets a lot of
Oh,
soft,
yeah.
soft frost.
Frost.
Yeah. So it's interesting that, but it doesn't
Ooh.
taste like it's been frostburnt.
No.
Because obviously your fruit can get over frosted and the skin kind of shrivels and falls apart. It's kind of disgusting.
Definitely.
But that's
That's
I
nice.
really like that.
that's a really well made wine.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Again, I'm having that with pate. I'd probably go for something even heartier. I'd probably go for a slightly spicy pork dish maybe or something like that.
I think. See, the thing when we talk about duck is like it's a gamey bird.
Yeah.
But I think this is a gamey wine. I think that could go really well with things like venison or slightly more flavourful.
I think people eat duck more than they eat venison, I have to tell you. Kangaroo. Kangaroo would be the trick.
Kangaroo would be really good.
That
Sorry.
would be good with kangaroo.
Trying to find a. That's the problem. Some wines go really well with gamey meats, but gamey meats aren't something that are as popular as they used to be.
Oh, do you like kangaroo and coals now, apparently?
Oh, you can.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never done it.
Yeah, you can. I've seen
also,
it there.
kangaroo is really good for you and quite sustainable.
You can also buy crocodile meat there. I saw the other day, just as a.
Yes, we were many
Yeah.
years ago.
You
That's a
snap
bit
it
more
up.
questionable.
No, I did not.
No, many years ago, we went. There was a
I really like my kangaroo meat actually.
tasting event in the St Kilda Botanic Gardens, and we tried crocodile, kangaroo, emu,
Ostrich.
Camel.
not ostrich, and camel.
No, emu.
Camel.
Very
emu.
sustainable meats,
Camel.
actually.
Yeah.
Particularly
Camel and crocodile are nice, but they're white. They're sort of like solid white meat.
deer, crocodile, and emu are all, and camel,
Mm.
really sustainable meats,
Mm.
particularly in Australia.
Actually, in Tasmania, they're doing a Eat the Pest project, which is eating camel fat. Well, not camel fat, but my mother was doing a project with it. Do not go near camel fat. It smells disgusting.
Well,
Well, that's why.
in New Zealand, they eat a lot of possum in terms of eating the pest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's why I often talk about venison or deer, because they're introduced, particularly in Victoria and the northern parts of the Victorian
There's too many
forest.
of them.
They're on a cull order because they are
Yeah.
a pest.
Mm.
So people say
Yeah,
things.
I think we're getting slightly off topic.
Yeah, let's
No.
talk. Yeah, we
No.
are.
I'm just saying that if you really like this Pinot, maybe you should go out and try and find yourself some venison. I'd
Mm.
highly recommend.
What, you're saying get yourself a gun?
No, you
Yeah.
can
No.
buy venison.
Just ring your godfather. Tell him to shoot something.
Now, do we have a favourite out of these ones? I'm very surprised with the Derwent. I really did not expect this because when we're doing a Tasmanian Pinot tasting, I was like, all right, this is going to be really light and fruity and yeah.
This,
but-
I think, this is actually more of a. This is a late winter, early spring. I want this to be cold when I'm drinking this one.
yes.
Whereas these ones,
A
this
spring
is
one.
this is definitely picnicable.
Picnicable.
This was
I don't like Pinot that much, but this is bloody good.
Wow.
oh, that's enough. Thank you very much. I have to put the lid on in a minute. I think this is a
So the Derwent Estate.
Vivian's
I
going to
think-
put the lid on
hilarious
Because she wants to take it home.
it.
plot twist. He's right. Okay, I think the Derwent for me is an inside warmer. I want to have it with something warm, substantial.
Steak and kidney
Um,
pie even.
Steak and kidney pie. I have some of that. And I've just cooked that on the weekend. That would be very nice with that. This one, I think this one could go
Pizza general eating.
pizza general eating one. This is the picnic wine. That makes it sound like we don't like it, but it's
You want it to be sunny.
I want it to be sunny.
Yeah,
I think that this is.
springtime, cold but in the sunshine.
Spring or autumn.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
the
think this has
sun.
got enough body for
No,
when it's warm.
spring, autumn, winter.
Okay, which because we live in Melbourne means you could have any of these any week.
Probably sometime tomorrow.
But tomorrow's going to be 27.
You just got to pick your time of day.
Oh, it's okay. That's
so you
tomorrow.
this is lunchtime, right? This is
Maybe 2
this-
hours later.
This is evening, and this is nighttime.
That's dinner.
That's dinner.
It's lunch,
Your whole-
happy hour, and dinner.
Your entire day
That's what
taken
you've got
care
there.
of by the Tasmanian Pinot industry. Nice work.
Beautiful.
Awesome. We got anything else we wanted to say about?
Hang
Pinot?
on, no. Okay, Luke, what was your favourite one?
Oh, I think you can, definitely say Derwent. Luke is not a Pinot drinker, and he poured a second glass. You already know there and then.
That's it.
I
Absolutely.
really like that earthy, this sort of violety herbaceousness. I'm not a huge fan
Nice
of
dark cherry flavours in it too.
I like it.
raspberry strawberry flavors. So definitely the Derwent for me.
Alright.
I like an oakier.
And Rachel in the production booth, which one did you like best?
I'm gonna say the Ninth Island.
Okay.
I like it mellow.
I like a mellow.
Yeah.
The Ninth Island is good.
I really like the Derwent Estate. I've never drunk it before, and I'm really impressed. Good on you, Tassie.
Woohoo.
They're very different wines too.
They're very different wines, yeah.
Which is good. We like that.
Because I've drunk a
From
fair bit.
3 different parts.
I've drunk a fair bit of
North,
the Devil's.
south, east.
Yeah.
Or north, east, south.
That's the way to do it. What's your favourite, Ross?
Yeah, the Derwent.
Derwent?
Yeah.
But I could quite happily drink the other two. I
Has
mean,
anybody got any
again,
preferences at home?
picnic, afternoon, beautiful. I'm happy with all those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Nice.
stoked.
Nice. Awesome. Anybody got any last comments on those?
No.
Are we done and dusted?
Yeah.
So what are we doing next week, Eva?
Next week,
Oh, I'm excited about this.
we're doing pink gin.
Yay, team.
Now, we're not just doing classic pink gin or whatever classic pink gin may be. We're doing our traditional Liebenstein, so it's more of a bitter
We're very
style,
excited about pink gin.
bitter style pink gin. We are doing the Bass and Flinders, so it's an Australian cerise, which is more berry focused, and our classic Fossey's, Broken Heel gin, which is more floral.
Sort of rose petals and things.
When we say floral, we don't mean sweet floral. We mean Australian floral.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So that's going to be exciting. Very different things. And we're going to be drinking, we suggest you drink it with maybe we'll put it in the notes.
Yeah,
but
it'll be
probably
like a light tonic.
a
or something
light
like that.
tonic.
Yeah,
Something nothing too complicated. Nothing tricky in the way of garnishes, we don't think.
I don't think so.
And you know, pink
Garnishes-
gin is quite popular at the moment, but this is a slightly different range than you often see.
Yeah,
They're
What
just-
garnishes, Luke?
not
I'd highly recommend you get yourself lemon, lime, orange. If you have a predilection to any floral notes or berry notes, get yourself whatever you
strawberry?
feel like.
Hmm.
Strawberries are good, particularly with maybe your fussies.
Mint?
But we'll post it all in the event.
We'll post it in
all
the
in
event.
Yeah, but we're not. You don't need an entire.
don't need
suite
everything.
of
No.
everything.
These bring a lot of their own flavour and don't necessarily always need.
A lot of garnishes.
And the week after,
We're going to be doing Chardonnay.
oh, I am
Ooh.
very excited for Chardonnay.
Yep, that'll be good.
Ross has been fighting for Chardonnay for weeks now. Let's just
Have I? Oh, okay.
You mentioned
You're
it
always
quite a lot.
fighting for Chardonnay.
We're very excited
Gasping
for
for
Chardonnay.
it.
Yeah.
So that
Awesome.
event will be up on Facebook very soon.
Yes, it will be indeed.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
So thanks very much for joining us.
Fantastic.
Thanks for doing the online tasting. So
Yeah.
feel free to recommend us to friends, tell people to join, all of that sort of hoopla.
We
That's always good
love
fun.
we love seeing all your social media posts.
We
Keep
do.
them coming. We all
And
love them.
as of this week, we have just started doing a couple of cocktail tastings as well.
Yeah.
So
Cocktail tastings.
um,
All
if
sorts
you
of
would,
fun.
I mean, it's very specific, but if you'd feel like we do all sorts of tastings, so
Yeah.
we're always open to
Yeah.
recommendations as well.
If you want to do
Cool.
an exclusive tasting with your mates or friends and
Yep.
colleagues,
we
we
can do anything.
Cool.
Beautiful.
And please feel free, if you're getting the little bottles, please feel free to just rinse them out and hand them back to whoever delivers you the next set, because we are recycling them because they're good.
Reuse, reduce,
Not that-
recycle.
Unfortunately, we can't reuse the half wine bottles.
But we will
Okay.
have them back anyway.
All right, we'll take them back anyway. Forget I just said that. Just rinse them out.
Ma-
Don't put them in the dishwasher because then the labels stick on.
Me,
Just
me
put
and
them
Ross
back to-
have specifically
and I.
gone and found some glass recycling that's very specific to those wine bottles. So
Fantastic.
if you're not going to use the wine bottles again, please bring them back
Yeah.
anyway.
But they do rinse them. Anyway,
Fantastic.
awesome. Love to see
Stay
you.
safe.
Awesome.
Champion.
Stay safe. Bye.
Woo.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Cheers.
Same
Bye.
bat channel. Same bat channel.
Fantastic.
Same bat time.
Oh,
Same bat
we're-
channel.
Stay
Oh, we're still
safe.
here. Oh, we're still on.
Rachel in the booth.
Rachel in the
Yay.
booth's enjoying the Pinot too much.
Cheers.
I